Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Alright, so a few days ago, I attempted to make this video, but everybody kept messing it up. So, you got the blooper from this. So this is called Racism and Beyond. Now, in that video, I was specifically trying to do a thing on a man a year younger than me named Umar Johnson, who apparently has the testicular fortitude to make an all-black school. Alright, sounds like a good plan for all of us people who are of color, specifically us black people. Now, for those who are new to my channel, my name is James Williams Jr. I am part Cherokee, part black, and part white, and here is where the shit with Mr. Umar Johnson went completely wrong with me. Alright, so a few years ago as I started following this guy, and at first, I was down. Black power, I was down. Then I kind of realized how that kind of sound, black power. How about human power? How about humanity, unity? No species being superior to another species, everybody being on somewhat common and equal ground. Well, in the beginning I was thinking about how my education is and how my niece's nephew's education is right now, which currently still sucks, especially since everything is you're learning virtually, which is irrelevant. But Mr. Johnson was all kinds of how I'm going to get this school, and it was feeling good, it was sounding good, and it was great, and I don't know if the school's still going to happen, but I do know he won't get a dime from me because of what he said in a video about interracial children, interracial couples, and how he basically would burn in hell before he let a white teacher or an Asian teacher on the premises to teach kids at his school. Right then and there, I look back at my schooling. I look back at my school. And I'm going to say this, and I say this lovingly, because, to be honest, without all culture, we're all stuck, or in any case, doomed to defeat. So Mr. Johnson said, if your kid has a white mom, an Asian mom, or a black mom, but a white dad, they pretty much, that parent that's not black can't come to that school to pick up their child. Or if it's an academy, they can't come visit their kid because they basically only want black people around. So as I did some video research, which I had planned on doing the other day with that video, before it went to hell in a handbasket, if I can find it, a young man named Andrew Schultz, he said something that I found out to be kind of true to life. And I don't want to misquote Mr. Schultz, but the video was on either The Breakfast Club or Vlad TV. I can't really remember. Why is this thing not working? Come on. If I didn't want to show y'all, this shit would be able to do it. Alright. First, let me clear the hair out of my face so you guys can see my ugliness. Alright, is this the video? Nope, this is the martial arts stuff. I gotta come back to this. Alright. So, this is the video. Oh, come on! Everything went blank. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know what's going on with this machine. So I had to wait for it, but Mr. Schultz had compared Umar Johnson to Mr. Trump. Now, other people have been also coming to the light of Mr. Umar Johnson. Now, I'll go on record for saying personally, I don't hate this man, but I personally could do without him. That's just my personal opinion. And I'm giving you the reason why this video is called Racism and Beyond. We just gotta wait for this thing to key up or whatever. I really don't like technology. Well, anyway, in the video, for whatever video he was doing, here it is. It is 11 minutes long. So, let me see where we are. Come on, damn it.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Umar Johnson?
It's just such a nonsense. It's really, it's just.
Well, I interviewed Umar.
I saw it.
I was trying to skip around to the part which I'm clearly
a registered massage
not gonna
therapist
be able to do.
and a
What the
certified
Sam
yoga teacher.
hell?
One of the biggest things that I'm constantly working with my clientele and my students about is
Maybe that's an
proper
ad.
alignment of the
I don't know
spine
what's
and
going on with
posture.
this thing.
So generally what we see with people who
Yeah,
have poor
it's an
posture,
ad.
especially clientele who work at desks,
For God's
is
sake.
there's a real tendency to have
Back to Asia, because one, Asia won't accept them because they're like, you're American, and two, they're American. Like, this is. I'm just saying, like, you know, if there's smoke, there's fire, right? Like,
Well, if you can read
I'm
the
not the
caption.
only one that investigates this.
why not?
Because I actually have no animosity towards him. Even after the comments he made me, it was really, like I said, it was really just a disappointment because my thing is not to bring people onto Vlad TV.
Alright, so it was Vlad TV. You guys can go check it out. Andrew Schultz questions Dr. Umar Johnson's credentials, calls him the Black Trump. That's pretty much the name of it. So, let me explain why I agree with that. The shit that flies out of Mr. Johnson's mouth is unacceptable. And especially it's unacceptable to me and kids and people like me because it's like his vendetta is against mixed people. I mean, literally, when I watch this man now, I'm totally upset. Like I said, at first it sounded like a good plan, you know, because, you know, young black kids lead the way in ignorance for the most part. Our education isn't all it's cracked up to be, and for somehow, somewhere, somebody down the road told young black kids that it was okay to I be speaking dummies, which means it's okay for you to lower yourself, to speak like you are a fucking idiot. I don't think that it is okay for young black kids to talk stupid. I don't have a problem with talking slang when you're at home. In a business setting, hell no, you don't talk slang. You talk properly. When you're going out to get a job, they don't want to hear, I got my education. They want to hear, I got my education at such and such college for such and such purposes of police science and criminal justice, or acting, or art, or something. They don't hear, I be getting my education, or I be getting my education. That shit doesn't help you. Playing ignorant, being ignorant, does not help you, people of color. And then people always wonder, okay, well, I lost my job to an underqualified Asian man who couldn't speak English at all. But I went into the courtroom with the judge and tried to get the job talking Ebonics. You know, I went in there, I be talking like I be second grade educated, and I be talking all kind of stupid and stuff like that. But the Chinese guy came in there, Ni hao ma, on xin tao pi cha yo. And needs to be known to you that the translator is Ni hao, hello. John Woo here would like to get a job working for you. Now, the reason why I use the words John Woo because the name Charlie Chan is a fucking Asian insult. If you're not Asian, you have no idea what that means. But if you came up in the 70s, people would call Chinese people Charlie Chan because of the movie with Mickey Rourke. Rooney, excuse me. Sorry, Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rooney, the late actor, who one of his first roles, he played a Chinaman where they gummed up his gums and pretty much taped his eyes closed. And he was, I think, what the hell was it? I don't know the name of the movie, but the movie was featured in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. He says, I don't want to trouble you, get out of here! and chucked up the Asian accent. And, as an actor, I can respect Mickey Rooney doing the part, because as an actor who hasn't gotten a job in the 20 years that I've been at this game, I understand taking the part. I probably would have questioned some things, but I would have taken the part too, because I'm not fucking working. And if they say, well, James, the only thing we can give you a job as, you can either be the Hawaiian or the Raging Indian. Well, I'll be the Hawaiian and the Raging Indian, because I want to fucking work. I want to be an actor. I need to sometimes sacrifice some of the better parts of me that I will later regret later in life. And they'll be like, well, why did you take that role versus not take that role? I say, well, here's the thing about acting. I can take a role and be working, or I can not take a role and never get work. If I take a role and I do a great job at that role, despite the moral complex that I'm going to have, I may get another job. If I take that role and I do a good job and I still don't get another job, at least I'll have something to say that I did at least one time. Versus I don't take the role and never work. Well, fuck, I'm already doing that. Back to the subject at hand. So Mr. Johnson comes out of his mouth on all kinds of racist rhetoric about how if you're black, you should only date black women. If you don't date white women or Asian women or Mexican women, if you don't date them, you can't fall in love with them. And you should be forced to fall in love with black women. And I was beginning to tell a story about my situations with me and black women. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against black women. I'm just not attracted to them. And it's not just about the beauty, but it's also about the attitude, and also about how many bad experiences that I've had with black women. And sooner or later, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the motherfucker drink it. Alright? And you have to realize, if it's not working for you, you have a choice. You can wait for the right black woman to come along, which means by the time she comes along, you'll be 60 years old. Or you can find women who actually give a damn about you and keep it moving. Now, I've gotten chastised by one of my uncles who I don't speak with about my choices of dating, because I do not date black women. I don't hide that from anybody. I'm not really attracted to black women. And there are some very beautiful black women that I am attracted to. But I also know that their level's up here and my level's right here. And they would rather drink a cup full of bleach after chewing on a razor blade than give me 5 seconds of their time. I know this because when I was a young kid, let's see, I'm going to leave off last names. Emily was one of my first black girlfriends. Emily purposely did shit to piss me off and make me jealous, and all of my friends knew what kind of underwear she was wearing. Sony and Lily, both of them told me that I would never be good enough for black girls. And if somebody tells you something long enough and you start to hear it long enough, you start to believe it, and sometimes what you believe starts to come true. So, between Emily and between Sony and Lily, there was Tutu. Tutu was light-skinned. She was like me. She was high yellow at the time. And the only thing that broke us up was she moved away. Same thing later down the road when I met Monica. Well, excuse me, not Monica. Her name was Mona. Sorry. When I met Mona and Jonah, we were a thing. And then Mona moved away. So I never saw her again after that. So that pretty much ended that relationship. And this is all puppy love, but it's real to the puppy. So then when I got to the ripe old age of 12 years old, this is what really triggered the I'm not dating any more black women shit. So I'm 12 years old. I'm dating this girl named Torsha. Again, I'm leaving last names out because I don't put everybody's business out there. So Torsha and I, it was a summer romance down in my father's hometown of Smithville, Virginia. And I just knew that I was going to marry this girl. And I had all these hopes and dreams when I was 12 years old. So you have to get to the fact that I was 12 years old. Alright? And a lot of people don't know a lot about love when you're a kid, but some of us actually do. I knew you didn't disrespect a woman. I know you didn't force a woman into having sex. And I know that you moved on her speed. And that if you were going to have sex, it was going to be her choice before it was your choice. Because it is her body. I mean, you are putting a yay so long or thick rod into her body. So I'm trying to make that as PG-13 as possible, people. So anyway, I think from June to the middle of July, almost the beginning of August, I was on her like a lost puppy. And then one day she came to me and said, James, I need a week of space. I need you to stop hounding me. I need you to stop being around me. I need you to stop being at my every beck and call. So give me a week. And I said, okay. And within that week, the next week came through and she brought her new boyfriend, disguised as her cousin, onto my porch. And the long and short is, he was bigger than me, but he missed a step. Because he was on the James Williams Express off my porch. So, the next year, 13, messing around, talking with the girls on the phone, thinking I'm doing something when I'm not, Then I met Symphonia. Symphonia would be the end of my reign of ever dating black chicks ever the fuck again. We were both 14 years old. By this time, if you're not having sex by the time you're 14, good for you. But I have been having sex since I was 10, so again, good for you. So I met Symphonia because I was showing off. Because I finally learned how to pop a wheelie, and not only could I pop a wheelie, I could ride a wheelie. So my little BMX, I'm just rolling back and forth, come down, pow, blew out a tire. She giggled. She thought that shit was funny. I didn't think that shit was funny because that was going to cost me $15.95 for a brand new freaking front wheel, and it also got me chewed out by my dad until he found out why I popped my tire. Because I wasn't the kid that went around sliding my bike, because I got my ass beat for that when I blew out a back tire on a different bike. So I learned not to do that. Anyway, so, with Symphonia, everything's getting good. And we probably was about to have sex the week that I almost got my head shot off. So, I know what you're thinking. You almost get your head shot off, you're 14. And here's where shit went wrong. So, my dad's house was right here. The house that I almost got shot at was right here. Decatur's house was right here. Annette and them house was right here because my great-grandmother used to live here upstairs, and then they moved over to my dad's place where my dad hadn't been living there yet, and he moved in when she passed, and he had been living here in the downstairs apartment, and there was a big woman who lived above us named Ada, and my dad had the porch blacked out with trash bags to keep the sunlight out, to keep it cool, because we had one air conditioner for the whole house. And he sealed all the windows so that no air could get out for the summertime. And he never cut the damn air conditioner off. Anyway, so I'm outside with my BMX. I'm walking Symphonia home. We've been hanging around and doing all kinds of shit. And I got my BMX and we're walking and we're talking and we're holding hands. And all of a sudden this dude pulls up on a 10-speed with a gun. I didn't know he had the gun until we started talking. I also didn't know he was 23 years old or 24 years old. He was in his 20s. I was 14. I'm a good fighter. I do kung fu. I have been fighting for the majority of my life, And so I'm sitting here with Symphonia, and the dude rolls out and he goes, "Hey, man, what are you doing with my girlfriend?" And I'm like, "This is my girlfriend." He's like, "No, this is my girlfriend." I was like, "No, this is my girlfriend." And he goes, "This is my girlfriend." And I'm like, fuck. And so he's like, "She ain't gonna be your girlfriend no more, cuz I'm about to put your ass in the dirt." And I'm thinking to myself, fantastic. I always told myself I would never go to jail over tail. But I never knew that I would have to catch a bullet for some. Especially when we hadn't even had sex yet. So, I got a bullet. I'm looking right down the barrel of a gun. And I'm thinking to myself, is this shit worth it? Is this shit really worth it? Because I haven't had sex with her and I'm fixing to die. So, my dad has his gun popped out of the porch. Because we're right here. He's right here. And my dad's telling him, "You go ahead and shoot my son. You won't shoot anybody else, cuz." Push the door open and says, "I got you. So you go ahead, you shoot my son. Go right the hell ahead." And how old are you? Me and him had already had the conversation. My dad missed that part. But the guy was 24. And I had already told him that he knows that shit is illegal. So I really wanted to be a cop really bad. All I did in my spare time was read law books. And statutory rape was one of my things. So I had explained to the man that he would be going to jail if he got caught having sex with her anyway. And he said, "Ain't nobody gonna know if I lay your ass down right now." And that's pretty much how that ran out to where my father wound up with his gun. So, after that argument happened, my dad told him, you need to get on your 10-speed and get on your bike and roll the fuck out. So, dude put his gun away and got on his 10-speed and rolled the fuck out. Never to be seen again. Do not know if my dad and Sophonia's dad ever caught the son of a bitch, but my dad and Sophonia's dad had a little talk. And I never spoke to Sophonia ever the fuck again. I also never dated another black chick ever again. So when Mr. Johnson starts talking about how you, as a man of color, need to only marry black women because only black women understand your struggle, I don't give a damn about my fucking struggle. Because as long as I'm breathing, I'm probably always going to struggle. And it doesn't matter what color a woman is. She doesn't have a penis. So she's not really gonna know my struggle, alright? And it's the same thing with us men. We don't have a vagina. We're not really gonna understand their struggle. We both know that we both love sex. You know, most girls like guys and girls, and most guys just like girls. And some guys like guys and girls and guys. That just didn't come out right. But anyway you put it, that also is irrelevant. But that is why I don't date black women. Now, when Mr. Johnson said that if you are married to an Asian woman, your child can come to my school, but your Asian woman can't come pick your child up. It has to be you. So what happens if I'm still in the military and I'm called away? Does that mean you get to keep my child? I mean, the logic of his thinking isn't the logic of my thinking, and that kind of pissed me off. And then it only gets worse from that because my mom looks white. So then my mom, who looks white, can't come get my child. And I'm thinking to myself, how racist is this son of a bitch? Where he goes, you're black families and black children are the only children that he wants in the school. He don't want kids that are mixed. He don't want, unless they're mixed with black, he don't want kids of any other culture having any connection or influence into the school. So black supremacists, yes. Racist MF, hell yeah. Because that sounds about as racist as separate but equal. No. My ancestors who are Cherokee lost everything. And the reason why I exist is because of slavery and interracial relationships. And he's highly, highly against interracial relationships. And even though his ancestor that he claims is Frederick Douglass was married to a white lady at the end of his life, he was mad as hell about that. And a couple of videos that he's made, it was like, well, if you don't date him, you can't fall in love with him. And I was like, well, I hate to tell this to you, but you know, you can't go anywhere unless you move to the middle of Africa and not see people of different ethnicities. Now, South Africa has white people in it, which I didn't know until Justin Gabriel, the wrestler, came out and Charlize Theron came out. I just thought South Africa had black people because I've never had any intention of going to Africa because I had bad experiences in school with a few Africans. One was my friend. The other two told me that I wouldn't survive when I got to Africa because I was mixed, that they would shoot me as soon as I got off the plane. So in the back of my head, there was a big give the middle finger to Africa because I'm never going there unless I'm going to get paid and have lots and lots of bodyguards so that they don't shoot me when I get off the goddamn plane. So, that being said, I'm pretty much done with Africa. But Mr. Umar Johnson is like, yo, I don't want nobody in my school that's not as brown as me. You know, if you're like from India, but you're not black, you might get in. But if you are Chinese, like full blood, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, you weren't getting in. And then on the Breakfast Club, he talked about other people from Asia who are dark, that have the Asian face but the brown skin. And he said that they probably could go in. And a lot of his shit, you can just go watch the Breakfast Club and you'll see where I'm going with that. And it just started to disturb me so bad. I was like, dude, you're being just as racist as the racist oppressors that you are trying to build a school to fight. And I said, you're not going to have Xavier School for the Gifted if you're not going to let the gifted kids in that aren't just black. And to end this video, you know, I personally don't have nothing against him because I don't know him, but his ideology, that is the shit that white supremacists talk. So for Mr. Schultz to compare him to Mr. Trump, I would say they were right on point. I don't like Trump. I'm not a Trump fan. Trump, I'm sorry if you guys are Trump fans. I don't apologize to you for being a Trump fan. I just apologize to you because I'm not. And you can vote for whoever the hell you want. But if you're following a devout racist around, you may want to just come on out the closet and admit that, hey, I'm a fucking racist. Because I don't care who you are. If you're following Trump, we can still be friends. But you still got to admit to me that you're just a fucking racist. But, you know, I mean, if they're saying that's part of his shtick, let me tell you something. Many, many years ago, burning crosses was part of people's shtick too. But you know what happened to the people whose houses got crosses burnt on them? They were found hanging from fucking trees. But yeah, I'm sure that's part of their shtick. So anytime you have a president that's going around solidifying things like the Kung Flu or the Chinese virus, and you're following him, and all this other stuff, and if you're Asian or a Mexican or a black, it's a stain on you and your honor. I mean, honestly, truly to God, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, I don't give a damn who would offend, but if you're black or Asian and you are voting for Trump, there is something seriously wrong with your moral compass. The man came out against the Central Park 5 when they were like 13, 14, and 15, and said that they should be killed by the death penalty. And even after, years after, even just as recent as 2 years ago, he refused to apologize to them, even though they've been proven innocent, and you want to follow this devout racist. For that much, I'm sorry. I don't have anything against you, but you need to come out clean and be like, yeah, I'm actually a racist. And before I go, I'm going to tell you why I said that. Because I had a friend whose dad who opened my eyes to some shit. And I will never not respect this man for this because he was honest to the fucking bone about it. If you are a racist and you are honest about it, we're friends. We're good friends because I know that you hate me for something that I can't change. I also know where I stand with you, where we can work together and have a kosher-friendly relationship. And when we clock out that damn clock, I go this way, you go that way. And as long as we don't collide and nothing comes out my mouth or nothing comes out your mouth in a racist negative, we will never ever have to go fisticuffs. But I generally don't start fights, I finish them. So if we clock out and you just decide to get a raw hair up your ass and say, hey, half-breed, or hey, NC, and I'm going to go ahead and say the words nigger and chink, if something like that flies out your mouth, well, it won't be the only thing flying out your mouth. So will your teeth. Unless someone gets to you before I do, who also may be half black and Chinese. Except for I'm not half black and Chinese. I'm part Native American. Native Americans are biologically Asian. But like I said, as long as you don't say anything like that, or my most important and favorite word, as long as you don't call me chief, you can be as racist all you want as long as you do that shit at home. You know, when you're at home, I don't give a damn if you're a racist. I know you're not going to invite me to dinner, especially if you are a racist. Now, if you're undercover racist and you're inviting me to dinner to make yourself look good, like, yeah, I got a couple of black friends. Okay, here we go. We're going to have them over for dinner. We're going to have barbecue. We're going to do all this other shit. But no one's going to know that I'm secretly a racist. I don't need you in my life if you're a racist. Unless you're an honest racist. See, if you're an honest racist, like I was just explaining, then we're good. Because I can be respectful. And I can go home to my house, and you can go home to yours, and there won't be any issue. But if you're an undercover racist, waiting for the knife to get into my back will always be something that I have to worry about. Because I don't know where I stand with you. Because you can be shaking my hand with one hand and stabbing me in the stomach with the other. So, I want to know where I stand if you're a racist. I mean, if you're a racist, this probably isn't the place for you. And I don't have nothing against you, but I don't need you in my day-to-day. I've been dealing with racism for 47 years. That means since the day I was born, I have been dealing with racism. Maybe we should say 46 years, because you know, when you're first a year old, you don't even know what fucking color you are. You don't know what your gender is. You're just a happy baby. People change you. You poop and you piss and you shit. That's it. You know, somebody loves you, they feed you, then you shit again. But when you hit grade school, by the time you get in 3rd grade, you know what the fuck your skin tone is. You know what people see you as. And you know how they identify you as. So, again, if you're honest with me and you are a racist, we can be cool. Because I know I'm never coming to Sunday night dinner. No matter what. And it's funny while we're on the subject of racists. Racist people tend to have a love for people of color when it comes to sports. But can still be racist. I want you guys to weigh the pros and cons of that. And if you happen to be following Umar Johnson, please listen to what this guy says when he opens up his mouth. He does not like people who are mixed. So he doesn't like me because I'm mixed. I didn't ask to be mixed. My ancestors lost their land and their freedom and was indoctrinated into society and didn't get rights until 1924. My black ancestors were sold out by other black ancestors. Something that they don't teach you in high school or grade school, to make you hate your white friends and their ancestors. Because that's something that you probably didn't notice while you were coming up through the ranks of school. Like just how much Black History Month makes your white friends afraid of you. I lost a lot of white friends during Black History Month. I lost more friends when Native American history and Black history were in the same month. And that was back when I was in the 5th grade and didn't know I was part of Native American until Miss Conrad, God rest her soul, called me out and tried to make me fucking carve canoes out of soap and cost me all kinds of ass whoopings. That being said, I want to end this video because I am going to do another racist video. Thanks for watching. Be seeing ya.